The Cuyahoga County Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, 2:30 p.m. Will please come to order. The time is now about 2:37, and I would ask the clerk...
It's 2:35, Council President.
2:35, okay. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Good afternoon, everyone. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Schlepper. Here. Ms. Conwell is absent. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Turner. Here. Mr. Hauser is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Castleberry.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Council President Miller.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And the next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anybody signed in?
Lou?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome everybody coming back after the little summer recess. However, the place I stay, situation remains. The construction inside of the facility is really causing lots of troubles. This renovation would not work because only with renovation, you do not get rid of the structural problems in the whole building. Pests, including bedbugs, cockroaches, mice, rats, whatever, they can still come in and out of the building easily, okay? Renovation itself cannot get rid of them. Our electrical system is still in big trouble. We still cannot figure it out why the fire alarm will always get the short circuit triggered it. And also, same thing, the plumbing is still not fitting the situation, how this facility is actually in use. So please, in the upcoming budget hearings, I wish you guys can all consider how we allocated our fundings to make lots of the health and human services receive the fundings instead of going to certain things that actually most of our residents in this county cannot really utilize or enjoy. For example, Brown stadiums or county jail. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
Thank you very much. And Councilmember Conwell has let us know that she will not be able to attend this afternoon's meeting, and I would ask if there's a motion to excuse her absence.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. So next on our agenda, we have a presentation, resolution number 2025-0241 is being presented for informational purposes only. The legislation is not on the committee of the whole for voting today. We expect to consider and vote on the legislation at the September 23rd council meeting. We held this legislation over the summer recess, believing that we needed to put together some additional information, and we have gained a great deal of additional information, and Eric Morris from the Centers is going to join us and present the information. And as he's coming forward, I would ask the clerk to please read the item into the agenda.
Resolution 2025-0241, authorizing a contract with the Centers for Families and Children in the amount not to exceed $7 million for capital funding towards the construction of a new comprehensive behavioral health center, with priority for the development of a detoxification unit effective upon signatures of all parties through December 31st, 2026.
Thank you, Council President Miller. Thank you for inviting us here, and thank you for...
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
if you could make sure your microphone is on and speak into the microphone. Is there a green light that's lit?
There is a green light.
Okay.
I'll just
And then
speak
state your name for the record, please.
Thank you. Eric Morse, President and CEO of the Centers. Again, Council President Miller, thank you for inviting us here. Committee of the Whole, thank you for being here to hear about this project. This project, just as a preamble, is one of, I think, the most important things that I have the opportunity to be a part of in my 30-year career, which is scary to say 30 years. Feels like I did it 10 years ago. But so I'm really excited to share this information. It's certainly up to you whether you want to take questions as I go or hold them till the end. But I will be addressing a lot of information as I go through this. Let's see. All right. So first, just to introduce the space, which I think is important. We are on the old St. Vincent Charity campus. We're in what used to be the Medical Arts Building, which used to have physical therapy and some other services there. We are looking to do some renovations to the outside of the building to soften it up, to make it feel more conducive for people who are in a behavioral health crisis. Just a couple more renderings so you can see. It's going to look a lot prettier, I hope, as you come down into that neighborhood. The front exterior, there'll be a separate entrance for police and EMS. And then you can see the other exterior view, which shows the bridge that will connect over to hopefully what will soon be neighborhood family practice in that building. I thought it would be helpful to do a little bit of a level setting with how we got here, because it has kind of all happened in a very short period, in one hand long, and the other hand very short period of time. First, in 2021, as you all know, the Diversion Center opened with the original plan of serving low-level offenders as an alternative to going to jail. In 2023, St. Vincent Charity Psych ED closed. In March of 2024, the centers purchased this building on the St. Vincent Charity campus. We originally bought this building to move our headquarters. This was not even a glimmer in our eye. We're going to move our office from West 44th Street to this location just because it's more inside a neighborhood, much better public transportation, and felt like it would be a better space for us. In the summer of 2024, I'm sorry, skip the spot there, the Adams Board in 2023 was awarded $6.8 million from the state. These are ARPA dollars that flow to OMAS, and OMAS has dedicated most of those ARPA dollars to building out the crisis continuum in Ohio. So across the state, in multiple counties, they're in the process of building out this crisis continuum and these sorts of crisis centers, which I'll be going into in more in depth. In the summer of 2024, through all that time, they were working first with St. Vincent Charity Hospital until they closed, and then they were working with Metro Health to establish this center in Cleveland. They looked at multiple locations with Metro Health. Ultimately, there's what I've heard, but I don't know exactly what the reason is, but Metro Health decided that this was not something that they could do at the time. This is under previous leadership at Metro Health. Then Scott called me. The reason Scott Osecki called me, I think, was because I ran into him a couple of years ago, actually at Chris Ronane's first State of the County address. And I see him all the time, but I happened to run into him there. And I was very excited about what was going on. And I said, if there's any way I can help, please let me know. We bought this building at on the St. Vincent Charity campus, which is a great location. If Metro Health wants to build there, that would be great. We just want to make sure this happens. And so he knew that I had interest. I'd also planned to do one of these in Lorraine County, which I'm happy to say is finally going to open later this month. So he called me because he knew I had interest. I also was familiar with the project, and asked if we'd be willing to convert what we were going to do at that building into the Crisis Receiving Center. I took it back to our executive leadership team and our board, And after a lot of discussion, decided, yes, we would be very interested in moving forward with this project because of how important it is to the community. At that time, there was a very tight ARPA deadline. Essentially, if we did not have a contractor and a budget and, well, I think the contractor under contract was the main thing, and a budget, including drawings, by the end of September, we were going to miss the ARPA deadline, and the money was going to go back to the feds. So we worked very hard over that time to get plans together and to meet that deadline. Since then, there has been a lot of work behind the scenes with multiple partners to continue to develop out what this will look like over the long run, knowing $6.8 million was not going to finish building a crisis receiving center, but it was a very good start, obviously. Over the past several months, the centers, Cuyahoga County, and the Adams Board, we've had regular planning meetings. We've met with some county council members. I started participating in the diversion board meetings, recognizing that there could be a transition between us. We engaged Metro Health's new leadership, conducted site visits, have been talking to EMS and fire chiefs, both suburban and in the city of Cleveland. And I won't read the rest to you, but it really has been an inclusive process, and we have a lot more to do. We're really just getting started in terms of how much we need to involve and get input from others. So what is one of these crisis receiving centers? So you can see in one of the diagrams here that there's kind of the path if you have a physical health problem. There's a very normal path that you go through if you have a physical health crisis. In behavioral health, it is not such a straight line at the current moment. But what the state hopes to do, what we hope to do, is to create that very clear pathway for someone experiencing a psychiatric crisis or behavioral health crisis in the city, including mobile crisis, mobile outreach, co-responder programs, but ultimately for those who need it, a crisis receiving center. To many in crisis, the current solutions don't work. And so what happens, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is you have a mental health crisis, maybe the police are involved, maybe they're not, but you're taken to the closest emergency room. It could go to Lutheran, could go to Metro, a UH facility, particularly the downtown UH or uptown UH, and then you sit for hours, taking up space, not getting treatment started, and oftentimes you end up sitting for days because there are no open beds available for you. And again, without really getting treatment started, because that's not what emergency rooms are designed to do. Emergency rooms are designed to save people when they have a very severe physical health crisis. The other obviously bad outcome is if the police get involved and things escalate and the person ends up getting put into the criminal justice system versus getting the help that they need. The diversion center was hoping to take that role. I think for a number of design reasons they weren't able to, plus a lot of circumstances have changed. I would say this center will be able to accommodate police officers bringing someone, whether they're voluntary and they just happen to pick them up and transport them to us, or because there's a serious issue because of the way we are setting up our program. I won't read through all this, but I've talked with both leadership at Cleveland Clinic and at University Hospital, and these national numbers hold true here. About 10,000 patients a year are hitting just either downtown UH-ER or Lutheran ER who have a behavioral health crisis, who would be much better served by a center like this. And all that leadership also said, not only do they cost kind of the boarding time, but they cost money in terms of not being able to serve other people because they're taking up space. So it delays care for other people who need the help. It's also very expensive, as you can imagine. And then there's the justice system's role, right? That there's been a lot of great progress, I think, made in Cleveland with the co-responder program. The diversion center kind of concept and what they were trying to do made a lot of sense. I think there was a real commitment to trying to help people with mental illness stay out of the criminal justice system. And a center like this will be able to accommodate them. Again, It's a lot cheaper than having someone sit in a county jail, state prison, or state hospital if they're sent to us. So I've heard questions about how do you know there's going to be demand for this? We're going to have 40 chairs. The reason we came up with 40 chairs is because there's a national calculator that tells us based on our population size, what we could expect the demand to be. But also, like I said, talking with those two leaders at the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital, it really matches that we anticipate that we'll serve between 12,000 and 14,000 people a year. They won't all be different people because some people will come back more than once, but 12,000 to 14,000 episodes. I just want to share this calculator, which is online. It's at a place called Crisis Now. And this, again, just shows exactly how they calculate what the need is in any community. I think the other, and mine is really, really small, so I'm sorry, it's hard to read. It's a 42% savings. In communities where these get set up and are working well, the savings just in hospital ER and inpatient stays is 42% less when you open a place like this. The reason for that is that because we're starting treatment immediately when someone walks in the door, and that's all we do, we're often able to stabilize people and release them within that 23-hour period. Whereas if that person was sitting in an emergency room and not stabilized, they're going to end up on an inpatient floor, maybe just for a couple of days. Our system, our program will hopefully avoid some of those unnecessary psychiatric hospitalizations. This is really just, again, demonstrating this is just part of a system, right? That we have mobile crisis that Frontline operates. They also operate the suicide hotline, the 988 line. And there are several police co-responder pilots going on, which I think have, across the country, have shown to be very effective at helping with the population. Once people come to us, what we anticipate is that about 80% of them are able to be discharged home. Because we're able to stabilize them on whatever medication they need, as well as make sure they have a follow-up appointment immediately afterward so that they don't decompensate again. We'll also have a pharmacy on site, which I'll talk a little bit more later, so that someone doesn't have to go fill their meds. They're going to walk out with medications in their hand, which, working in this field for a very long time, is one of the biggest barriers. Our patients walking around with scripts, never getting them filled, isn't very helpful. So really being able to get that into their hand immediately should be a great help. I want to just introduce SAMHSA guidelines. I won't read through this, but we're not making this up. We're not creating this on our own. This is a national best practice that has been going on for decades now and has enough research behind it now that SAMHSA has identified it as this is how a crisis continuum should work. And a place like the Crisis Receiving Center, the Crisis Center, is part of that, and the one thing that's missing in Ohio. Ohio's behind in putting this stuff together. The governor knows that, the department knows that, and they've made this a priority to build out this continuum over the next few years. So introducing what does our center look like? Who are we going to serve? You can see there's multiple ways in the door. We have a question mark by ambulance because there's some issues with policy that we're trying to address. But in every other state where these operate, ambulance can bring people to those centers. So we know it's a possibility if there's a desire. But police, hospital transfers, right? Because some people are still going to go to Lutheran Hospital. What we want is for Lutheran Hospital to be able to say to the person, hey, you're going to get better care if I transfer you over to the centers. So that we can so we'll have these transfer agreements so that people can come from those hospitals, again, alleviating their space. Mobile crisis, community agencies, and walk-ins. Someone can decide, I need a crisis, I'm in a crisis, I need help, or a family member can bring someone. It's important, I don't think I said this at the beginning, but this is all behavioral health. So this could be someone who is intoxicated, could be someone who's had an overdose, someone who's just decided I'm ready to get help and I don't want to wait. I can't wait. Folks will be able to come in and get care established very quickly. Though the crisis center is not unique in this country, it is somewhat unique in this state, but as I said, other counties are building these right now. What is unique is this full continuum of care within one building. That we have the crisis receiving center on the first floor, the second floor having detox and crisis residential beds, and on the third floor, an entire outpatient clinic that can provide psychiatry, primary care, all of the services that someone would need on an outpatient basis. So if someone comes into our center, if they're our client, it's going to be very easy for us to coordinate that care. And if someone is not our client, that's okay too, because we know those providers and we'll make sure we're getting in contact with them and helping them make sure that they get their patient back into care. I do want to mention for our detox, we're partnering with Rosary Hall. Rosary Hall, which is just a gem in Cleveland and a very historic institution, which had to go away when the hospital closed. We felt like as we open this detox center, we want Rosary Hall to be a part of that. And I do have some folks from the Sisters of Charity here in case there are any questions about that partnership, but we thought that was really important.
So I'm going to interrupt just for a moment and note the presence of council members Jones and Hauser, who are now with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record.
So what are the goals of this center? Make sure you get fast, timely access to the best treatment possible, relieve pressure on hospital emergency rooms. We all know how long the wait there is, and some of that wait is because of behavioral health clients taking up space in their ERs. Provide safe alternatives to keep people out of jail. Maintain compassionate care with minimal use of seclusion and restraint, but we have seclusion and restraint as a tool if we do need it. Help 80% of our guests stabilize quickly and return home, and then connect the other 20% of guests to a higher level of care. Other conversations we've had with the hospital systems is, if this really works ideally, could be some central bed management where we're part of being able to fill their beds across the continuum here. Right now, Cleveland, because we don't have one of these receiving centers, does not have enough psychiatric beds. The number of our patients who are sent to Columbus and Cincinnati is a lot, and obviously that creates a lot of problem when you're trying to coordinate care for someone's release. So by focusing on the people who need the hospitalization the most, and by working collaboratively with the Cleveland Clinic and Metro Health in particular, Laurelwood, we'll be able to make sure that we get people into the right beds as quickly as possible, if that's the level of care that they need. And then overall reduce community costs, lowering ER costs, jail admissions, and inpatient stays. On the first floor, it's a 24/7 operation. We will have a police and ambulance sally port, so they'll be able to pull in a secure area to make sure that it's safe for them. And a key part of this model is that we want to get them out within 4 minutes. So police bring someone in, we just want the handoff, a little bit of information, and then we want them back on the streets doing their job, not waiting around with these patients. And we will never say no. It's another part of this model. If the police bring someone to us, we will not say no. So the police can go on with their job, and we'll figure out. If it's not the right place for them, we'll find the right place for them and figure it out so that we don't burden police with social service work, which is not what they're there to do, right? Patient care and safety, again, capacity to do seclusion and restraint in the rare cases where we need it. We're using something called the living room model, which is very peer-oriented. So there's no beds on the first floor. They're all recliners, so you can sleep there. It's comfortable. But the model, though it includes nursing, a psychiatrist, social work, all of those professionals, the majority of staff on each shift are peer support workers. They're going to be, the peer support worker is going to be the first person that the consumer coming in meets, and the last person they'll see before they go. And that person who has lived experience can help them navigate the system, can also keep them engaged so we don't have crises that develop on the floor. So really, everywhere that's done those types of programs has been very, very successful. And then, of course, we're doing assessment, triage, the whole gamut. There are certain medical conditions we'll be able to manage, and there are some we won't be able to manage. We're still working through kind of making sure we understand what those things are so we can give that information to people who are referring to us. But it'll be important that we have a very good transfer relationship, hopefully with Metro Health, so that if someone has a physical health issue we can't manage, we can quickly get them over to the care they need. And if they can stabilize them, they can come back, right? So maybe they just need something quick that we're not able to do, and they can come back to us. So doesn't mean that they'll be stuck again at that emergency room. I thought I'd share just the staffing. It's a pretty robust staff. You can see the peers, the registered nurses, the social workers, all the support staff that will be there to support these patients 24/7. The residential level of care, crisis stabilization, it's a voluntary program, so it's for people who have an issue and need some stabilization, but they want to do that work, right? So it provides them with a bed, opportunity to do group work, make sure that we can get their medication stabilized. We hope stays are around 7 to 10 days at the most, and then discharge. Oftentimes, some of the issue is housing, as you can imagine. And so this gives us a place to work from to help make sure that we can try to establish better housing for them so that the issue does not repeat itself. And then the detox center, which again is in partnership with Rosary Hall, 10 beds for that. We're very excited about that partnership and being able to provide state-of-the-art addiction treatment for people. We also have a very close relationship with their outpatient program so that as people get discharged, they can enter the Rosary Hall outpatient program. If they so choose, they can obviously go anywhere else too, but we'll have them very close on our campus. This is just the staffing for the other 2 units. Again, I won't go through them, but you guys all have this, and if you have any questions, you can certainly bring them up. I thought I'd take a minute and just show what this place really looks like. And this is a Mac, so God help me. Yeah. Thank you. So this is as you enter the facility. This is through the front door. So this would be someone who's walking in. You can see the welcome desk there that will be staffed 24/7, warm, friendly. You're about to pass the pharmacy there on your left-hand side, again, so people can access their medications immediately. And then back into the crisis center on the first floor. You could see what the recliners, get an idea of what the recliners look like. They're very heavy, they're safe, they can't be moved. You can see a kind of a forest scene. We want to create a calming environment. The lighting is going to be very intentional. Even soundscapes will be used to just maintain calm there. And you can see the nurse's desk that will have visibility to everyone there. There's an exact replica of that on the other side of that wall that has a shared nurses station. So capacity for 20 on either side. Second floor real quick. You can see calming colors, all very research-based. I believe here we're walking into the crisis stabilization unit, yeah. So the crisis stabilization unit is, we designed it to be able to handle someone who has an acute behavioral health crisis, so it's ligature resistant, but a more home-like environment for folks. You can see here we go into one of the bedrooms, so out of the nurse, and the bathroom. So there's additional place for people to watch TV, there's a group room, there's a dining room. Most really important for both this and the detox center is that we've built second floor outdoor patios so that people have the chance to get outside, especially in detox. If you can't let people smoke, they're not going to stay, so we need to let them smoke. But this keeps them in a private area, right? They're not standing out in front of the building or going into the neighborhood. This gives them a safe, secure place to be that they can enjoy the outdoors. You started to play, but here we go. So this is the detox area. You can see again, common area, more privacy for TV. And then it's a mix of single occupancy and double rooms. Again, they will have their own dining space, their own group space, and their outdoor area. Let's see if we go outside. Nope, we don't go outside. But they'll have their own outdoor area as well. Okay, go. There. All right, we're back. The third floor, which I won't go too in depth, is a full clinic. So we're taking what we do on our east side, East 45th Street Clinic, and bringing it over to this facility, except basically doubling it in size, and building it to do true integrated care between behavioral health and primary care, really right next to each other. This is a community-wide project, though obviously the centers, the Adams Board and Cuyahoga County are in the lead on this. We're bringing everyone possible together. There's some groups we haven't met with. For example, the judges are a group that we've been trying to meet with for a while. We will meet with them. The prosecutors of both the city and the county will be meeting with. But you can see a wide range of partners to be able to pull this off, both individually and then collectively. And then we will have also a community advisory board, similar to what the diversion board is like, with hopefully a lot of those same members, because it's a really great group. Looks like this did still get cut off. Or did you do 2 slides? Okay. So I thought it would be important to show the difference between this, Metro Health's ED, and the diversion center, because I get a lot of questions about that. So in terms of capacity, Metro Health has beds for 10 adults. Diversion center capacity for 50. We'll have a capacity for 66. The patient counts, 2,500, 1,600, and 12,000. Metro Health is located east side suburb, diversion East 55th. We're in the central neighborhood where every highway in Cleveland comes together, as well as every bus line, I believe, runs through there as it goes west and east. Funding, obviously, Metro Health is funded by the Adams, and they bill insurance as they can. We'll do the same thing. We'll also have the benefit of pharmacy revenue, which we can't estimate yet, but that revenue will be put back into this program. What can we each do? Metro Health can do very similar to us, 23-hour observation. They can administer medication. They're co-located, though, with an emergency room, so that's a great benefit because they can get medical care right there at the same location. Diversion center intake and assessment, and some residential treatment. What we'll do is urgent care, 23-hour ops, detox, residential, the outpatient clinic, and pharmacy all in one location. Both Metro Health and our center will be staffed and designed to be able to serve people with the most acute behavioral health issues. Diversion Center was not designed that way, designed to manage voluntary patients who wanted to engage with them. And then how do you get in? There's no pre-screening to get into our center. So whether you walk in, whether ambulance brings you in, or whether police drop you off, you're in, and we'll help you figure it out. We're not going to make anyone pre-screen you out or make you jump through hoops in order to get the care that you need. We want to get you in, get you assessed, and get you to the right level of care as quickly as possible. So I have three stories just to share, just to illustrate. So this first story is someone with having a mental health crisis, let's say someone with schizophrenia, who's very paranoid, hallucinating. Perhaps their family has called because they're being disruptive in the neighborhood. Police go to intervene. The police can bring them in to their car, and they can bring them to us and be dropped off within 4 minutes. They're back out on the street. They can, if they need to pink slip, if I assume you're all familiar with pink slip, but it's an involuntary status. So if that patient, is not willing to come and they need to bring them against their will, the police have the ability to do a pink slip, and we are able to accept that pink slip. Another example would be someone who overdoses in the community. Ambulance goes out to treat them. They Narcan them. They decide that the person is stable enough that they can bring them to us. We can initiate medication-assisted treatment and detox immediately without any wait. And then walk-in. Someone, a woman who's been struggling with behavioral health issues, maybe she's been depressed for a few months and just hasn't had the time to get help. Instead of calling someplace and wait 6 months to get in, she can simply walk in. And she doesn't have to be afraid that she's going to be put on to a level of care she doesn't need, because we can assess her in our urgent care and make the determination of maybe we can treat you outpatient, or maybe we need to take you back so we can, if you're like an acute suicide risk, we'd want to have you come back, right? Back into the crisis unit. So those are just some examples to give you an idea of this range of folks that we'll be able to serve. So that's the whole project. I'm going to dive into costs and mitigating factors around cost. So maybe it's a good time to pause and offer the chance for any questions about the program itself.
Councilman Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple of questions. One, what's the address of the place?
You think I know that?
Okay.
2322 22nd Street. He handles all the capital
Okay.
applications, so he knows.
Now, I saw security listed there
Yeah.
in the employees. I also see there's a pharmacy that's not too far from the front door.
Mhm.
What type of security presence would there be?
Yeah, we may actually partner with the Sisters of Charity on security, because they already have security on that campus continuously. But at a minimum, we would have a security guard right inside that door and a security guard in a car, lights turning in the parking lot.
That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
What?
I'll acquiesce to my colleague, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You mentioned you're taking more, offering more services than the diversion center. Can you speak to the differences between your diversion center and the one that's currently operating? And I speak specifically of the challenges that they've had in getting individuals brought into their facility.
Yeah. One of the challenges in the diversion center setup is that it's a voluntary program, which means that if police bring someone there, it is possible for that person to leave against medical advice, which then gets frustrating for police and then can further erode the likelihood they're going to bring someone. This is not a diversion center problem. This is across the country that those types of things happen. This center, because we'll be a secure facility and the ability to handle involuntary and voluntary statuses, we'll be able to make sure that doesn't happen. So when that person comes to us, we have the time to evaluate them, keep them in a secure setting while we do that evaluation, while we initiate treatment. I do want to clarify, if someone doesn't meet that level of care, so if someone cannot be held against their will because of they're not a danger to self or others, once we evaluate that, then we have to discharge them. But our goal is to engage them, to make this someplace where they want to be. So having a lot of food, social time, comfort, it's at least a place to rest, if nothing else. So in the places across the country where this happens, oftentimes people who come in involuntarily are quickly converted to voluntary because they say, you know what, I'm willing to take this medication. I'm willing to stay here to get things started and to have you help me.
Also speak to the transition. How are you working or partnering with the existing diversion center and transitioning? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think it's still a work in progress. We've had one meeting with them to talk about if they close, when we open, a way for their staff to apply for positions at our center, because obviously we'll need a lot of employees. So, but we also want to make sure we don't hire them before they're closed. So we want to make sure we're working with them so that they don't end up with having to serve people without having enough staff to do so. So I think it's going to be a longer process, but that we do want to collaborate with them to make sure that they can stay staffed while they need to, and that anyone who wants to continue this work and do it a little differently can come over.
Some of us on council, we toured other county jails in anticipation and preparation for our own county jail. And we saw a behavioral health system institution that was physically connected to the jail. And they saw themselves as some version of a diversion center. The concern I had about that was it was strictly filled by the judges. So an individual went into the system, the judge determined they didn't need to be in the system, and they would send them to the diversion center. And my concern with that was diversion means diverting. That means you not touch the system. So our existing diversion center, we know, accepts people off the street, and I'm hearing in your conversation that is the same here. So is there a component where the judges also have an opportunity to send to the facility?
So certainly, and again, we need to meet with the judges because we want to hear what they need to see if we can, meet those needs or not, depending on the law. But certainly a judge who determines someone does not need to be incarcerated and has identified a mental health issue, when they release them, they can refer them directly to us, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
So, for the record, Councilwoman Simon is in the meeting, and did you want to be recognized, Councilman Sweeney?
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Okay, Councilman Sweeney, followed by Hauser.
Thank you, Mr. President. Eric, it's nice seeing you.
Seeing you, Councilman.
Let me start off with the centers have long and currently doing outstanding work and true partners with Cuyahoga County. And this project is exciting, but the more you talk, the more questions I have. So sometimes it's better to be brief, so us up here won't write down more questions. That's an editorial. So this all started with Scott. It was Scott's idea, calls you and says, maybe we can do something?
It was the state's idea initially. Scott involving us, that was Scott's idea, yes.
Through the chairs, just the state says, hi Cuyahoga County, or hi anybody in the state, we have money for this, and if you want to do it. And Scott sees it, says, hey, we can grab this, and so kudos to Scott. Good. I just listed some random questions, so it'll be all over the place. Beside the scene partners, you said there's multiple. What does behind the scenes mean, and who are the partners?
Well, obviously the police departments, frontline service, judges, the criminal justice system in general, the prosecutors, EMS.
I'm just curious
fire
why,
departments.
through the chair, why you use behind the scenes?
Oh, it's not meant to be
It's just
behind the
work,
scenes. Yes,
right?
we're just
Work product.
Yes.
Are all the partners 100% bought in?
Everyone who I've talked to, yes, believes that this is a very good alternative, and they're excited about what it can do for the community.
And through the chair, this is like nirvana for this subject, the way you described everything. And for me, it could be perfectly filled, it could sit empty, and it could be overdosed. I mean, overrun. It's because I was looking at that beautiful slide you had, and I had all those thoughts in my head. And the pause I have is, you said a couple times, I still need to talk to the judges. Where are my notes? I'm just getting started with gathering information. So this is wonderful on paper and very well thought through, but still things need to be put in place to reach those extraordinary goals to take care of the folks that need it the most.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah, through the chair, that is accurate.
Yeah, so that's my pause there,
Yeah.
because there's still some more work to be done. And
You know-
I know you'll do the work with your team, but that's,
I think, I agree. I believe, there's an ideal way this would have happened, where the county would have been able to go through a planning process, receive the money, have all the partners already in the room, and then move forward with one of these. In this case, because there was such a tight deadline, really the centers had to take a risk, right? That we're going to use this center for this, even though we haven't done all that work yet. And I did that because I just believe. I believe in the people of Cuyahoga County. I believe in the leadership in Cuyahoga County. And I also believe that this is going to transform care for people with behavioral health conditions. So both myself and our board were willing to take that risk. But Councilman Sweeney, you're exactly right. This would not be the order I would ideally do it in.
and through the chair, the word risk is scary, and I appreciate that, because that's how important this mission is to you, and that's the core values of the centers. Is it still a timeline? In regards to the crunch time? No, not a timeline. It was a crunch time to get the dollars in, to be able to get it. Has that passed?
So we hit the first deadline, which was to have plans in place and a contractor, bid out and signed. Infinity is our construction company. The next deadline that we have is that we have to open by September 2nd of next year. So if we don't open by September 2nd of next year, it would put the $6.8 million at risk, which is why we are going full steam ahead to, that's why we started construction before we had secured all the money, because we know we have that deadline. We can't wait for the money to flow. Obviously, that's another risk we're taking, right? But again, because of the conversations I've had, because of what I believe about this project, I think, and we'll see in a little bit, it is coming together in terms of the capital stack to be able to make this a reality.
And through the chair, risk again, but we'd be taking a risk, but we have faith.
You are.
And the faith is you're going to pull this off. And just, I'm not an expert in this field at all, but some conflicting thoughts in my head. It's gone in 23 hours, police 4 minutes, but if the police are 4 minutes, have they charged the guy, not charged the guy? If you get an unwilling one, the guy might have an episode of violence inside, so, and pink slip, no pink slip, and the 23 hours, but Rosary Hall, the legend of all legends, is long-term, not long-term, but stabilized. So it's short-term, long-term, 4 minutes, police, so that's a lot of stuff going on in one place, and if that model can be pulled off, we're good, but I see, that's part of the faith though, right? You're gonna figure it out. That's,
I think this is a good opportunity for me to offer. We plan to do visits. We've done some visits already, and I visited a lot when I was at the Nord Center. I didn't believe in this either until I saw it in action.
Good.
And I'd love to invite, anyone on county council who feels that they would like to see this in person, be able to ask your questions of those local governments and how are they pulling it off. I would welcome that opportunity for us to do that together.
and I'll stop after this one through the chair. It's not lack of confidence or faith in this, or not a believer. I'm just learning in depth about this for the first time, and the thing I have is the confidence in you, not just because you're part of my district, but of the work you've done over time. And you gave me the funding sources, but how is it going to be paid for, right? Because you have staff. I don't really need to know the budget now, but maybe offline I can understand what the dollar amount is to run the place. But, our hospitals are getting beat up a little bit, and some more than others. And patient care is one, and all those funding streams you mentioned, I don't believe everyone's going to be continuous in perpetuity. So talk a little bit about that to me, and then I'll shut up for now, Mr. President.
I do have several slides on the operating budget
So-
and sources, yes.
So I'd like to ask at this point if my two colleagues could hold their questions for now, and I would like to at least get through the financial presentation, which is new information that most of us haven't seen before. And so that we can make sure we get through that before we have to move into the executive session a little bit before 4 o'clock. Is that okay?
I'm good with
Okay.
that.
Please proceed with the financials.
Thank you, President. So this is the capital stack. You have copies of this, so hopefully you can see it. So all in all, the project will cost $32 million to build and to outfit. So that includes all the construction and all the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that we'll need. So it's all in. To date, we believe, we feel confident, I don't mean to assume, but right now, assuming 7 million comes in from the opiate settlement fund, if that money were to come in, we would be at 26 million raised. I want to point out that 26 million is enough to do the first and second floor, which is the thing we have to get done on time. So that's going to be our focus. If for some reason, and I don't think this will be the case, some reason that we're not able to raise the rest of the funds, we can wait on the third floor. We have a clinic open, we'll be fine, and we can continue to work toward being able to move that later. But I feel it's really important for all of us to know we have the money to build the first and second floor today. Again, assuming the vote is positive on the 23rd. So the gap is around $5 million. We are working with some high net worth donors, and we're hoping for around 3 to 5 million from those donors. We're also working through the foundations, foundations who have not already contributed. So far, we have the Gund Foundation and the Sisters of Charity who have already committed. But we believe that there is additional funding out there from foundations to close the rest of that gap. I talk a little bit more about this here, but there are some risks in this too. First, any questions about the stack and the sources? No? Okay. So there are a couple risks. So the new market tax credits, those are not out yet. Those will be, the application will be soon, and they will be awarded in November or December. And if for some reason they weren't awarded, that would be a significant gap. That's around $6 million we're counting on from the new market tax credit bucket. We have a lot of confidence that it's going to work. Our consultant, who can come up if you have questions, because it's way more complicated than my brain can handle. If we have any technical questions, our consultant come up, Betsy Figge, who we've been working with. This will be our third new market deal, so we are familiar with doing these. We know what they take. She's already had wonderful conversations with several potential investors, including PNC, Capital One. Several large institutions are very interested in participating in this project. So we feel good about getting the new markets. But if we didn't, how would we deal with that? Our backup plan is we do have some investments set aside that we can pull on to close some of that gap. We also are analyzing how much debt we could take on responsibly. And we believe we could take on some debt to be able to get to, if we didn't get this money, to be able to go forward without it. Because we can't wait again, right? So if I stop right now and wait till I have every dollar in my pocket, the project's not going to happen. So again, we're moving forward as is, and both myself and my board feel very comfortable that if something doesn't work out, we have a backup plan and we'll make it work. The other, I talked a little bit about the funding gap for the third floor. In the case, again, where we couldn't raise all $5 million, again, we have some reserves that we can draw on, as well as consider taking out additional debt if needed. Any questions about the capital?
Continue.
Thank you. Operating. So we've broken this down into the 3 programs. I know it's very small, I'm sorry. I can send you the official budget so you have it. But the CRC in the first year will cost around $3 million. And you can see the sources that we're counting on are Adams Board funding, fee-for-service revenue, and county opiate funds for the first 3 years or 3.5 years of 3.25 years of operation. CSU will cost a little over $1 million a year initially, and then $2 million and when we're doing a full year. And detox costs around $3 million a year. I do have a combination slide so you can see it maybe a little easier here. How much each group is bringing in terms of their subsidy. So the Adams Board is averages around $10 million a year toward the project. The opiate fund is $4 million a year. And fee-for-service revenue, you can see, is in the $7 million each year. I will say we took a very conservative approach here. So fee-for-service is based on only 60% of the people having Medicaid. The other payers are not great. Medicare pays a little bit, but anyone on commercial insurance, or if they're uninsured, obviously, we're not counting on that revenue. We think 60% is probably reasonable, given the population that's going to be coming to this, usually a highly disabled population, and so they remain eligible for Medicaid. But we took as much of a conservative approach to this budget as possible, because we don't want to get in it and be asking for more money, right? Any questions about the operating budget? I want to maybe just comment. I didn't put a slide in here, and I don't have the exact math, but I know that it's a substantial. You know, the cost per admission at our clinic, assuming that, 12,000 or so people come through once we're fully operational, is about $1,200. That's what the Adams Board and the Opiate Settlement Fund is bringing. If you compare that to the amount of money that is being paid to the Diversion Center and Metro Health on a per patient basis, it's significantly cheaper. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck. And I don't think it's, any sort of shenanigans on the part of those 2 organizations, because when you're smaller, it costs more, because your fixed costs are your fixed costs. We're just able to spread our fixed costs over a larger program. But so from a cost-effective standpoint, I think it's much more cost-effective having a center like this. Not even to mention the cost savings and hopefully jail, hospitals, and emergency rooms.
Continue.
All right. So contingencies here. So I feel good about the first 3 years, even with the big, beautiful bill and the changes to Medicaid. We're insulated from that a little bit, in that we're able to do presumptive eligibility. So if someone comes in and they're likely eligible for Medicaid, as a federally qualified health center, we can get them on Medicaid immediately. We believe it's a highly disabled population, and so most of those people will stay on Medicaid. They won't have the work requirement. Same with people who are in substance use disorder treatment. They also won't have the work requirement while they're in active treatment. So I feel really good about the first 3 years. I'd also say, as a nonprofit executive, I can't count one more instance where I knew I had 3 years of operating funds. That just isn't the way nonprofits are unfortunately able to work, because things change so quickly. So I feel very comfortable with that. Our board feels very comfortable with that. In year 4 and beyond, there's a couple scenarios that I think are possible. What their likelihood is, I could not say, but I think that they make at least sense. If this is successful and it's proven to cost significantly less than an emergency room and an inpatient stay, then the managed care companies, and even maybe the commercial companies, when we go to them and say, if you don't start to pay for this, this is not going to stay open, would you like to keep paying us $1,200, or would you like to go back to paying $6,000 for each of these admissions? I think is a good argument. I think the hospital systems will have the same if that doesn't work through. The hospitals have the same choice to make. They're invested in this, right? If this defrays their costs and their their boarding time, they may want to contribute. And there are examples. Columbus, actually, that is the case. The hospital systems are contributing to the crisis receiving center that just opened in Columbus. So we have 4 years, 3.5 years to prove the concept. We're going to track data like crazy, including cost data, so that we can make that argument at the end of, certainly way before the end, but before we get to a place where we are afraid we won't have the resources. I think the Adams Board will probably always have to have a role in this. That's true across the country. These are operated on a firehouse model. You don't know how many people are going to come through every day, so you can't just get paid on a per-person basis. It's always going to need some subsidy from the Adams Board. My hope is it's not $10 million, and that can go down. The other option is, instead of just working with the managed care companies, is the state of Ohio determining a payment methodology. And there's two ways that they can do that. One is that OMAS is currently evaluating a way that they can come up with a payment methodology. That'd be an alternative payment methodology to support these ongoing. Again, they're having many of these built across the state. They don't want to see them fail either. Or it could become a Medicaid eligible service. Certainly the codes are there, and it's an eligible Medicaid service if the Department of Medicaid wanted to add this to their benefit. And I think you can also show the cost neutrality of it, right? Because instead of Medicaid paying for emergency rooms and inpatient stays, they're paying for this, which is a lot cheaper. So those are our two hopes. We did work out a couple of sample budgets there, but again, as a nonprofit executive, imagine what I would have said 3 years ago about what I thought was going to happen. It certainly wouldn't be this. So to some degree, we have to, continue to adjust as the system adjusts, as the market adjusts. That's what I think that we're really good at that throughout our history. If there's not enough money, then we'll make adjustments. If we need to lower the census, we'll lower the census. If we need to do something else, we'll do something else. And we'll make sure that the county as our partner is part of those conversations so that we do the best thing we can for the community. This is not an issue anymore, but we have received our permits for the building and work has begun. Staffing, it is a big staffing lift. It's between 164, 170 FTEs that we have to hire. We are going to scale this. We're not going to open day one and have 40 chairs available. We're going to scale it over time. But it will be a big lift to hire this many people. But we have a really great HR team, recruiting team, who we believe will be able to fill these positions. And because we're all capable of doing the work, this is one of those things where if I got to take my social work license and go down and start doing assessments, I'll go down and do assessments. Adams Board related responses to the county. I think you've seen Felicia Harrison's here. If you'd like her to come up to answer any Adams Board specific questions.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, and we have Hauser followed by Kelly.
Eric, I only have one question. I went to tour the Fannie Lewis Center that's connected to Oriana House, and it was not a lot of people in there. And so I was wondering, Eric, have we taken a look at some of our buildings here in the county, whether it's a school, the Fannie Lewis Center, and see could we repurpose those buildings instead of putting millions of dollars into this project?
Through the chair, to Councilman Hauser, certainly that is something we could do. What we risk is that $6.8 million is attached to that building, and we're really tied in from the state perspective of the feds. The project cannot change at this point.
Thank Thank you, Eric. Maybe we can, in the future, definitely take a look. We have a lot of empty buildings. We have schools coming offline. And so to keep putting millions of dollars into new builds, maybe we can get creative as a county. Thank you.
Agreed.
Councilman Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there going to be some type of a training with police departments? So they know about this when you go online?
Yeah.
Fire departments, how's that going to work?
Yeah, great question. Through the chair to Councilman Kelly. Yes, there will be training. This will be probably added to the CTI training that already goes on. Given that a lot of officers have already gone through that, we know that we're going to have to go to roll calls. We're going to have to get out there and make sure people know about it. Again, this is part of that partnership with the Cleveland Police. What's the best way to get the information out so that they start to feel comfortable using this? I will say in other places, I've heard from our consultants that sometimes it takes a minute, right? So some police officers start to use it, and then it works, and then a few more use it, and it works, and word starts to spread, and that's how you finally start to get the volumes that you expect to get. The key is to serve the police, right? So when someone comes in, get them in and get them out.
That was also the hope with the diversion center, right?
It,
Okay. And then, so when I was looking over that capital stuff, right, it's $7 million right now is the ask, right, for the opioid fund?
correct.
And then $4 million 3 more times as it goes along? So that's another 12 million, correct? All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Councilman.
Any other questions?
Mr. President.
Yes, Ms. Simon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the presentation. My question centers around your potential partnership with Metro in terms of, rather than building a whole new building, having a whole new project, using money from Adams Board, why not partner up with Metro Health and utilize some of their facilities and their services?
Through the chair to Councilwoman Simon, I never take anything off the table, and I'm certainly willing to have conversations with Metro. We have talked to Metro. Metro decided not to do this project. I think it needs to be put on the table. The other is, what do we do with it? The $6.8 million will go away if we don't do it at this location. The facilities that Metro has, if they're in Cleveland Heights, we start to run into the problem of it's not easy to get to. So I'm not sure how that would work. 25th Street certainly is a perfect location. And if Metro would have decided to go forward, that's where it would have been. But I would guess any facility at Metro probably needs about the same amount of work.
Through the chair, in terms of the $6 million going away, perhaps it would be less expensive to go someplace else, rehab an existing facility, such as a place at Metro, West 25th, somewhere else, and then that $1 million can go away, and then we could operate on a less of a budget, less money coming out of Adams Board, and providing the services, which are the core of this. It's not the structure, it's the core of the services. My concern is the overall expense of this going forward. So why not look at doing something different and having a budget that's more sustainable?
Through the chair to Councilwoman Simon, I don't know that it would be any less expensive if Metro were running this, either on the capital side or on the staffing side.
I think we need to look through the chair at what it would cost maybe to provide space someplace else, because this is only 2 out of 3 floors anyways. There's no money right now on the table to do what needs to be done to the entire building. Okay, so that's one question or kind of comment. I don't want to be boxed in to a long-term project because of the state's contribution, frankly. The diversion center right now is limping. It's limping because of the procedures and policies set forth by the prosecutor in the city of Cleveland. That location is actually more central to the people who will need it. What will change just because we built this building someplace else?
To my knowledge, the issue with the city prosecutor has been addressed and is not a barrier at this time anymore. So
What is that, I'm sorry, Eric, what is that based on? Because that, I've not heard that the policy of the prosecutor has changed at all.
I'll call an expert up so that I don't.
Okay, so that, I'm not going to take up this meeting because we have an executive session, but until that's resolved, it doesn't matter where or when or how we build. The core of this is really, the obstacle has been the city of Cleveland's policy on who can come in and getting permission, things like that. So that's a second question I'll have, and we can, I'll leave it to the chair if you want to answer that later. And my third concern is taking money from the Adams Board. It's great that will be going toward your project, but I need to know who's going to be hurt by that. You can't, there's not enough money right now to address the needs in the county, and we're going to see less of those needs being met. So we really, as a council, need to look at what's going to happen to the agencies that aren't going to be receiving money anymore, because it's going to be diverted to this new diversion. So those are three topics that in the next week or two, I'd like to address with council.
Thank you. Through the chair, to Councilwoman, would you like to address that in a
If you
meeting
can,
together?
yeah.
Together
Yeah, sure.
or
Oh,
now?
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love, let's set up a time.
Absolutely,
to
but
meet.
we need information from Adams Board, agencies, prosecutor, courts, judges, all of that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Anything else, Councilman Sweeney?
I'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and my colleagues. In regards to the partners, Mr. Lawrence at the Oriana House is a legend, does great work, and Judge Mattia had his opinion regarding this particular project moving forward. Those are true stand-up folks. You said you were engaged a little bit with Oriana House and Judge Mattia. My request is that you try to go deep as possible to gain the wisdom, their knowledge, to try to make it the best we can as we move in this path.
Through the chair to Councilman Sweeney, yes, I agree, and we will.
Okay, and through the chair, and to the chair, we heard from our CEO, but what about the administration? I wouldn't mind hearing from the administration sometime before this moves forward on what role they played, what participation they're going to do, how we're going to make it improve from where it was, what happened, why is it limping along now, and what changes have been made. We have the new deal with the city of Cleveland with the jail. What's going to be different? And when you mentioned the three partners, Cuyahoga County is one of them, and that's us. So before this is over, I won't mind having the administration up here to tell them, and it's not in the next 5 minutes. I think it's going to be a healthy dialogue. And I had a fourth one. It disappeared. You're lucky. Thank you very much. Not lucky, but you're blessed. But thank you for coming up here, telling us about it. And I love that you have a bunch of skin in the game, and they're cherished dollars, and you're just asking us to be a partner on the council side. So thank you, Mr. President.
Anything else? Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you very much for your time. If any, I'll meet with Councilwoman Simon. I'm happy to meet with anyone else along with our partners, so you can get all your information at once if you want to go deeper on any of this information on your own before there's more testimony here. So I'm happy to do that. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you. All meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the open meetings laws. Under that law, council may go into executive session during a meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside the hearing of the public. Council may not make decisions about any matters in executive session. All decisions are made in public. This afternoon, the council will go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent court action. During this time, our live stream will be down, and we ask all those not specifically needed for the executive session to remain in council chambers. Council members will convene in the adjacent Committee Room A and will re-enter the meeting once the executive session has ended. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent court action?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded, and this requires a roll call.
Mr. Schlepper?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell is absent. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser? Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Castleberry?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Council President Miller?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. We will now adjourn for our executive session. The executive session has concluded. We're back in the committee of the whole. Is there any miscellaneous business? Hearing none, the committee of the whole is adjourned, and we will begin the regular council meeting at 5